Welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference with your host, Teresa Velardi. We believe that authentic, meaningful, and diverse conversations are the glue that binds us together. Our discussions remind us we have the power to uplift, challenge, stretch, and invite dynamic growth. Are you, like many, feeling like you're flying by the seat of your pants through life? Join us for conversations filled with gratitude, values, abundance, authenticity, and faith. Here's the host of our show, Teresa Velardi.
Welcome to another edition of Conversations That Make a Difference. I'm excited to have you all here with some of my favorite authors who write children's books and make a difference in the world of children from various places around the world. We have somebody from Hawaii. We have stories that have stemmed from Alaska. We have people on the mainland. So we're all over the states today. So before we start, we always start with a prayer, and let's just say the serenity prayer together. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it is by God's grace that we are fabulous, blessed, highly favored, living in our greatness, using our gifts and talents to make a difference in the lives of others, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. Together we say amen. Amen. So I've got some sound things happening here. So let me introduce my guests today. We have Allison is in the background. Her camera is not working. So we're going to introduce Allison King Bluhm. She writes under Allison King, and two of her books are Silent Sparkles and Feline Phoenix. Allison is a nurse. She's recently retired from school nursing, and she loves working with children and is passionate about educating them and helping them achieve healthy living lifestyles. She has worked in a number of maternal child health care settings, and for the last 9 years, she was a school nurse. As a school nurse, she was able to help many children and their families stay healthy. Welcome, Allison. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And then we have G.W. Lehtinen. We call him George. And he is writing a series of books rich in Alaskan culture. And from 1984 to 1994, he experienced the unbelievable beauty and rich culture of Alaska. From the Northern Lights to watching his father make dog sleds was an important time in his life. He has a BA in art and was a veteran of the United States Coast Guard. He was a personal trainer for 20 years, and now he's focused all of his time and effort into dozens of short stories. The Tunturi Tykes, and Tundra Tapestry is his second book, and he has his art and his writing featured in both of the books that are part of the series. First one is Uh-Oh, and we'll be talking about what's coming next. Welcome, George. GW. And then we have January. You're muted. January Liddell. She is a financial educator, entrepreneur, and a speaker. She's a senior retirement specialist and licensed financial professional. She helps individuals and families build financial freedom through tax-efficient retirement strategies. January is also the creator of the Honeymaker series, featuring Alina, the super saver, and Dynamo Jr. Dynamo goes on a spending spree, gets himself in trouble. Alina comes to the rescue. We'll talk about them in a minute. They're great stories. They all are. And January is the creator of this book series. Book number 3 is on its way soon. And she teaches kids about saving, giving, and wise financial decisions while inspiring others through leadership and personal growth. Welcome, January.
Aloha. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you too. So let's start with you, January. So you came to me with a story about a little bee about a little bee who was a really good saver. Tell me how this series came to life in that brilliant brain of yours.
Well, there's over 70 million of us that are in debt. That's a lot of people in debt. And don't quote me. I think I may have gotten that number wrong, but there's quite a lot of us in debt. And to me, there's a discrepancy in habits, healthy money habits. And so it was important for me to start when they're younger, which is why I created Alina, the Super Saver. And I honestly thought I was just going to write one book. I'm going to write this one book. And then I got inspired to write the second book. Yep. So there's Alina, the Super Saver. And for me, it's very important that the children start when they're young so that they're building their healthy money habits at a young age. So even though they're not earning any money at this moment, it was important for me to get the story out in a fun way and a relatable way. And so hence, Alina, the Super Saver was born.
Talk a little bit about the story of Alina and some of the things, some of the principles and the ideas that you bring to the story that parents can use with their children so that they can be responsible and financially sound at a young early age. And so that talk about a little bit of the story. The story is so cute. I can't even tell you. I just love Alina. She is in fact the Super Saver. So talk about a couple of the things that are in there so that our audience can get a good idea. So when they get their copy, they'll know a little bit of what's inside.
So like many young children, I always hear as a mom, as a parent, I hear, Mommy, can you buy me this? Mommy, can you buy me that? Or Daddy, can you buy me this? Daddy, can you buy me that? And children don't understand the value of $1. They really don't. They just want things come their way. And as a parent, I will say I did make the mistake of, okay, let's just buy it. Let's buy it. So I made that mistake. So as a parent, I want other parents to teach their children the value of the dollar. And so in this story, Alina, much like any other young child, asks, can I get this? I really want this. Well, this particular thing is quite expensive. And while mom could have just put it on her credit card, instead they come up with a plan. And but before they come up with a plan, there's Mr. Buddy Bee. So Mr. Buddy Bee comes in and Mr. Buddy Bee says, heavens no, child, all you need is a credit card. And that, of course, even for adults, right? It's like, oh my gosh, it's a credit card. It's great, free money. So in this book, we talk about a credit card. We talk about interest rates, fees, compound interest, and then, of course, the value of hard work. So the plan is Alina comes up with these different scenarios of how she can save money. And while saving money, there's obviously temptation. Even for us adults, there's temptation. So she reminds herself, she takes her picture out of her little pocket and she's like, oh, right, this is actually what I really, really want. So that's part of the story. Even for us adults, we go through this type of feeling of, oh my gosh, I really want this. And Alina learns, well, I really need to work hard, put in the money, save all the money, put it aside. And then, of course, at the end of the day, she becomes Alina, the Super Saver. She gets what she wants because she saved it instead of buying something she wanted. She saved it for what she needed, and her need was the goal. So her goal was to get this particular thing. So that's Alina, the Super Saver.
She's, and it's so great. When you talk about how Mr. Buddy Bee came with the card, I remember when my son was young and, you talk about, you want to give your kids everything, right? And we all do. We want to give our kids whatever we can. But when my son was young and he wanted something and I said, I didn't have the money, he literally said to me, Mom, just take the card and put it into that machine where the money comes out, so that no concept of what money is. It's just like, when you put it in the machine, the money, it gives you the money, right, Mom? And I'm like, yeah, but I have to put the money in so that the money can come out of the machine, so that whole thing is a little difficult for them to understand. And then in your second book, Dynamo gets to learn a little bit about that lesson, right?
Yes, because he has those plastic beauties of yours, and he says, "Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna buy whatever I want." And Alina reminds him, you're gonna owe a bill later. He's like, don't worry about it. And so he keeps buying and buying and buying. And of course, the bill comes and he's like, oh, what did I buy? So this is another relatable story. And I love both Dynamo and Alina. Just fun fact, Alina is actually the middle name of my daughter. Her name is Jasmine Alina. And then Dynamo Jr. is actually my son. So my son's nickname is Junior. So I had to put him in there somehow. So the second book is about spending and how, as consumers, especially here in the States, we are a very consumer type of society where we see everything and it's like shiny and bright and we're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So in this story, it really does teach us um, the value of being mindful of how we spend, and also the value of, okay, well, I do have to remind myself that I have to pay this bill, at the end of the month. Otherwise, there's going to be fees. And so we do talk about the fees. We talk about APR, so interest rates and things of that nature. So I do want the children to understand that the discussion of money should be easy. And I think for a lot of us, money has a type of connection to it, whether it be positive or negative. And these series, in the Honeymaker book series, I really want it to be a positive discussion with no emotions attached.
Right.
Because we have to talk about money. It's what we need for our livelihood and things of that nature, what the kind of lifestyle that we want. And so it's important for me that when because the series is about saving, spending. The next one is about sharing. And eventually I want to talk about investing and taxes, because I know I wasn't taught that when I was growing up. And I really want the kids to actually be immersed in these types of languages, these types of words, so that when they're older, they understand what to look for.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so Puka Penny is the next character, and she's adorable. She's a little diva, and I just love the characters. Where did you come up with these characters?
So the bee, Alina the bee. So I was actually called the queen bee. I have like a trailer for my presentations when I go to school for career day. And a good friend of mine called me the queen bee. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the bee. And the bee has such a powerful, it's a little tiny animal, but it's so powerful for our world. And we need the bee in our world. So that's the other reason why it was important for me to introduce Alina the bee. And Dynamo, okay, so fun fact, I love cruising. And so ducks are associated with cruising. And so there's the little duck. And then I realized I really need to start introducing Hawaiian animals, because that's the whole theme of the Honeymaker series. There's going to be 8 books, which represent the 8 different islands. So right now they're in Oahu. The 3rd book, they're going to be in Kauai. And eventually I'm going to introduce the other islands along with all the different animals. Puka Penny, a cousin of mine, said, hey, can you name one of your characters Puka Penny? I said, sure, that sounds like a fun name. So hence Puka Penny, who is the rainbow gecko.
That's lovely. I just love the series, and I love that they have Hawaii written all over them. Even the little haku that she has, and he's wearing the Hawaiian print shirt, and that Aloha Tower is right in the middle there, and it's just all, it's got your Hawaiian culture instilled within the pages, and the other thing is that the food trucks at the swap meet. That's something that's not necessarily seen all over the country, but although food trucks are becoming more and more popular, this area has the food trucks. The swap meet has food trucks, right? So it's just a Hawaiian tradition. So you've got your culture, a bee who is essential to the world, your duck, your Dynamo, he's so adorable, and then you have Puka Penny coming, and I can't wait to see who else you're going to bring into the picture as you introduce the rest of these books in the series. It's
Thank
great
you.
to work with you, January. It's great to work with you for this. Yeah, it's wonderful. So now we go from Hawaii. We're going to take our stories over to Alaska, and we're going to talk to GW Lehtinen, and you can unmute there. So as I read in the bio, you spent 10 years of your childhood in Alaska, right, George? You're muted. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. I got you now. So, and you have these two darling characters. They are brothers, right? You want to talk about this a little bit for us?
In 1994, I got out of college and I graduated. I'm all happy, but then reality hits, just like the money, as January said. Well, my dad, he's very John Wayne, in that, tough guy kind of bluntness, but I love that now. I didn't like it then. The reason these guys came up was I was sitting there in the tundra in the cold of Alaska, and I said, I don't know, I need a job. I got to pay all tens of thousands of dollars in debt now. And my dad, he said that he's more funny. He goes, now what? Like, what are you going to do now? So during that afternoon, I was looking outside, and the front cover is like that, just kind of bleak that day, just gray, blue, and I just started I had a sketchbook, and I was just like, this is the only thing to calm me down and get my mind off of reality. So I just started to draw, and all of a sudden I just said, yeah, I like that way that looks. And then how about a brother, and then it was strange because my mom, she was there in the room just watching, because she's an artist too. And she's just start laughing. And I'm half Japanese. So my mom's being full-blooded Japanese. She speaks, when she gets excited, she kind of loses the structure of the English language. and she's like, oh, I like that. That's so nice, And I started laughing. I go, okay, if she likes it, and she's very harsh on, art. She's very critical. She goes, no, keep that. And so I actually drew a 12-page little short story, like a Dr. Seuss rhyme. And she loved it and kept it. Now, 32 years later.
My goodness.
Yeah. She sent it in a care package. She goes, and the note said, remember? And that hit me right here, because you're so focused on other things, raising kids and all of that. And that's how it just reignited the imagination of these brothers and their adventures.
Mm-hmm. And there's lessons in each one of these. And I want to say that you have a website that you utilize now. You're blogging about these stories. You're asking questions. You're involving parents in the conversation. Tell us a little bit about this story without giving everything away, and what people can take away from this as parents of children living in, whether it's the Alaskan tundra or whether it's the Hawaiian Islands, or whether they're on a beach off of Long Island. What tell us a little bit about what you've got tucked into the pages of this that people can take away for their families.
Well, actually, the first book is a personal account of what I used to do all the time, not pay attention. I was notorious for that. I have two older sisters. I'm the baby brother. So they picked on me a lot, and and I deserved it. I look back at it now, I'll go, wow, that was really not smart. But at the time, like these two brothers, they get done with your chores, and they, really, who likes chores when you're 9, 10, 11, so they bolt, they're gone. They're, hey, freedom. Right. And then how easily we forget as children, rules, boundaries, and consequences to crossing that line. I mean, I remember, this is only a personal account of my parents were very clear on the line. And my dad used to say, that line that you shouldn't cross, that's the Grand Canyon. You should easily see that, and of course, my sisters would look at me and say, why did you do that? You knew the rules, So the story is based on not paying attention as a child and facing the consequences of mom and dad, in that family structure, saying, we can't let this slide.
No. Yeah. So it's an endearing story. I love the characters. Their names are Atu and Lee. How did you come up with these names? Are these traditional names?
Yeah, well, there's many different tribes in Alaska of the indigenous people, but we call them like the big five, Athabascan, Inuit, Eskimo, Aleut. The Aleutian Islands is an actual, I learned a little bit about that when I was a kid, and I never forgot that because I love, the culture. I was like, wow, these people are tough, and anyways, the Atu and Lee, I looked online and I said, wow, that's a cool name, and everything has a meaning.
Mm.
So I forgot the meaning of Atu. I'm sorry, but it's easy to say. So I thought a nice short name, and I went with that.
Nice. And then so the next adventure is an introduction to the Tundra Tapestry, which is the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. And inside this book, we have got like so many bright illustrations. What fascinates me about this is that we were able to take your drawings that were on paper and scan them and send them to my illustrator, Aljon, who then digitized them and added all this color in. So for people who think that they can't have something as beautiful as this when they're sketching on paper, think again. George, what was your reaction when you first saw? I know what your reaction was, but let's talk a little bit about how when you first saw the color, how like the Aurora Borealis is what you see in this book.
It's almost identical in a lot of ways, because that's after I picked my jaw off the floor, I was like, me and my son, he's never seen it, I did. And I would try to describe it. And the story describes it really well. It could be this, it looks like that. And the imagination of two brothers arguing of what they think it is. But when you look at the sky behind them, it brings back a lot of memory. I think I've seen it like 5 or 6 times. But what is amazing is how quick it can go away. It's like there and gone. And it's like someone hit the light switch. Yeah. And it makes you feel that big.
Yeah, and the colors are just, I heard that. I think that there's sometimes when in the winter when it's very, very cold, and one of the reasons why I'm not staying in northeastern Pennsylvania much longer, this past winter just did me in. But the northern part of the country, whether you're on the West Coast or in the middle of the country, and sometimes even on the East Coast, the Northern Lights can be seen in a lot of different ways. I don't know how they come about. I just thank God for the beauty that he brings to us. Each and every day we get a chance to see something else. And that the Northern Lights, I've never seen them myself. I will one day though. But the Northern Lights are just magnificent. And the story is so adorable. Sorry, I don't want to give it away, but you have to buy these books. You've got to get the Honeybee series and the Tunturi Tykes. What does Tunturi mean?
Tunturi is Inuit. It's one of the main tribes up there, and Inuit. Tunturi means like a great plain.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So,
nice.
or vast. And trust me, when you look out, it's like it doesn't end.
It doesn't end. Thank you for putting together this series. George has a 12-book series, and you can look forward to them coming out one at a time. Hopefully, we're going to have a bunch of them done for Christmas. So if you're looking for something for your families, and in January has another book coming out that will be out before Christmas as well. If you're looking for books for your children, your nieces, nephews, your kids, if your kids get if they do a Secret Santa kind of thing at school and they have to buy a gift, consider these books. They are really, really fun, and they're beautiful. Every one of them has great color, and the stories are intriguing and they're fun. So, and I hope that you each will consider buying some of these books. I can't wait to see what you guys are bringing next. Allison, thank you, George. We'll come back to you. Allison is having a little bit of a difficulty with her camera. So this is Allison King. She is a Northeast Pennsylvanian, as we talked about in her bio, and a nurse. Allison came to me with a story called Silent Sparkles. You want to talk about that, Allison?
Sure. It's kind of a lyrical little tale for young children. It's really a poem about catching fireflies. I remember as a kid trying to catch fireflies and how much fun I had doing that. But I was sitting out on my swing in my backyard one evening a couple of summers ago and just really admiring the fireflies, and really the poem just kind of came to me. And so I was lucky enough to finally meet up with Teresa and get this put together as a small children's book, and read it to my kids at school, and they seem to really like it. And it's just kind of a nice, it's almost like a calming bedtime story. A lot of kids, like the parents were telling me, they like reading it and keeping it with them when they're going to sleep. And it's kind of all the pictures that Aljan and Nova did were wonderful, and they were just really peaceful nighttime pictures that I think helped settle them in the evening.
Well, and along the way in our conversations, we discovered about something about the fireflies. Of course, the sparkles are the fireflies, and kids are trying to catch the fireflies. And what was the thing that you and I were both like, I didn't know that. Can you give a little fact about the fireflies?
Yeah, we found out that the firefly is the state insect for Pennsylvania, which I didn't know until we found that after the book was out for a while. And a sparkle is actually a group of fireflies. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was really cool, because who would have thought that there was a bug that was a state bug, a firefly? And we were talking about, a lot of places in the country don't have fireflies. I don't know where. Some people said that they've never seen them. They don't exist in their states and whatnot. And so I went on an exploration, and I was like, wow, the firefly is the state bug, the state insect for Pennsylvania. So January, you've got your little hakus and your whatever. George, you got dog sleds. We got fireflies.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's a cute little story. Then along came Feline Phoenix.
Yeah.
How did this come along?
Well, actually, I wrote this one first, and I adopted a kitten, I think about 8 years ago, and she actually came from Arizona. My son and his wife, who's a veterinarian, they rescued her. And it was a long story about how they rescued her, but they live in Arizona, and they already had a cat. And they had all these wonderful intentions, but then my son, who was allergic to the first cat they had, really developed some serious allergies to having two cats. So he called me up on the phone and twisted my arm a little bit and said, wouldn't you like to have a kitten for Christmas? So he brought her home. So the story, actually, it's 4 short stories in one book. And Aljan and Nova did a great job of illustrating it and then dividing those 4 stories up in the book. And the first story kind of explains how she got rescued and how she ended up coming to my place, to my house. and she comes around Christmas time, and she gets into all kinds of mischief. And because I'm a nurse and I'm always teaching as a school nurse, teaching my kids healthy living lessons, I use my kitty's mischievous behaviors and all her zany antics to teach the kids how to, have healthy lifestyles, like eating well and exercise and the right amount of rest and seeing your doctor, and how to behave when you see your doctor, sitting still for the exam. And it worked out great, because at the end of each story, there's a little interactive page for the kids to pick out what prize would you pick at the doctor? What exercise do you like the best? What foods that are healthy do you like? And at the very, very end of the book, Phoenix is doing some crazy stuff, like hanging off the chandelier. But at the very end, there's actually a picture of Phoenix peeking around the corner in my house. And that's how the kids end the stories, by meeting the real Phoenix.
Yeah. And the stories are so cute. They really are. And you're right. They're well illustrated, and they have messages. Every single one of the books that comes through the publishing company has a message that that actually can be used by the parents, by the school, libraries, whatever. And we are, for those of you who are in Northeastern Pennsylvania, Allison and I will both be at a library event in Clark Summit on September the 19th with her books. She'll be there with her books, and I'll be there with some of the daily gift books. So, and as you know, the Daily Gift of Inspiration just came out. When did we launch that one? At the end of July, I think. Yeah, sometime in July. And all three of these authors have a piece in Daily Gift of Inspiration, 250 words. It's a story a day. Eventually it's going to be a story a day, but there's just a little bit of inspiration coming from each one of them that gives, started off with gratitude, as we have over there, then hope, and then came a daily gift of kindness, and then came a daily gift of peace, and a daily gift of friendship came after that, and then a daily gift of inspiration. So this is an ongoing series. And if you want to know how you can participate in this series, just go to dailygiftbookseries.com, and all the information is there on how you can participate. So George, how did you feel when now you've got your two books. Now you're also in Daily Gift of Inspiration with a story, and that became a bestseller. So you are technically a best-selling, all of you are best-selling authors. How about that, right? Yeah. And every time one of those books comes out, you get a chance to put a story in them and make a difference in the life of somebody else. You're making a difference in the lives of the children with each of your children's books. There's lessons in every one of them. And I get to be extremely grateful and to be a part of your journey as authors in this crazy world that we live in, right? Yes. Yeah. Crazy world. But these books are wholesome, and they definitely are, the way, for someone like me who grew up playing outside all the time. And George, I know you can all, when we were little kids, there was no such a thing as the cell phone. There was, there was only black and white TV when I was a kid, for many years. So, to have this really touches my heart, to have the books. I remember my parents reading to us when we were kids. And I remember being outside, playing in the snow or riding bikes down the hill. And we used to get, for anybody who knows what a banana seat bicycle is, and I'm sure you do, you could ride two on there, right? Yeah. But you could also put one on the handlebars. And how many times we'd come down the hill, go around the house, and have enough speed to go to the driveway and then go back up the hill again. So just all those little things that we did when we were kids, they're memorable. And you're bringing those memories into the pages of the books that you are providing for the children of today. So how does it feel to be making a difference? George, you're first.
It's just, I just want to help the kids read. I mean, I just looked at the last few years of how there's so many students that are illiterate, and it was alarming.
Mhm.
And obviously, like you said about, the fun things back then, we had to read in cursive, and,
Mhm.
and we were missing a lot. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it's almost like a fight morally and ethically. I don't know. Like I want the kids to read like they should.
Mhm. Mhm. And have the experience of the beauty of the books that are coming out there, and being outside. Most of the kids today, I mean, I have a friend who has a young child, and always on the phone or the iPad or in front of the TV, like, get up and get outside. I mean, I'm guilty of being in front of the computer. My work makes me stay here, in front of the computer. And then that's how I get a chance to talk to all of you guys. Be in Alaska and Hawaii and the mainland all at the same time, right? But I think that it consumes the kids today. And even though, the books are all available on Kindle, because there is a faction of people who just don't want to cut down the trees to make the paper, to make the books, and that's fine. But having your face in the devices 24/7 is, I think, detrimental not only to yourself physically, but detrimental to you socially. What do you think, January?
I was going to say that I found out through my daughter because we have, kids like playing Roblox. I don't know if you know Roblox, but that's a huge thing, is Roblox. And she told me that now Roblox is now mandated to cut it off at a certain time. So they'll monitor how much time the child is on Roblox. And once it's like 2 hours, it cuts it off, because I know kids can be on there for hours upon hours. And she told me there's like a little Roblox person that has like a little sleeping hands that says time to get out, time to go sleep, or So yes, I agree that the iPad, all the electronics, a lot of children, even us. Okay, so even as adults, I feel like I am addicted to my phone. I mean, there was a time we're watching TV, we're watching a movie, and I can see like my whole family. I'm like, we're all on our phones. Like, what is the deal? We need to get off the phones.
Yeah,
August
exactly.
9th was National Book Lovers Day. And I just wish that there was more promotion over it. I actually didn't know about it until I saw a post. I'm like, oh, is that what today is? And, just like what George said, it's so important for us to read more. There's so much that you can learn from a book, and you get to escape. You get to escape reality and jump into this book, and it takes you to a whole new world. And so I believe that we should have some kind of a movement of like no device day or something, where,
Yeah,
all of us just get off our devices. So yeah, it's
I
very
agree.
important.
I agree. Allison, I'm going to talk to the nurse in you for a minute
Yeah.
here. What's your opinion on all these devices that people are using, and
Yeah.
the games, and how is it affecting the children? What have you experienced as a school nurse from all of this?
Well, I'll tell you. I was going to say a couple of things in response to actual physical books too, but I did have some kids coming in who weren't sleeping well at night, and a lot of it was because they took their devices to bed and they were on that screen, and then they couldn't fall asleep, and their brain was just really way too active. And I had to have several conversations with them and their parents. It really needs to be limited. That's the key, I think. And getting that physical exercise outside or the conversations with other adults is so important, especially for their brain development and their emotional development. I know I have a 11-month old granddaughter, and boy, is she just really attracted to if she sees her parents' phone around or even a remote of some kind, and their computer, she just goes right, makes a beeline for that. And
Yeah.
they're really good about keeping that away from her. Because I know even with the little ones like that, they're coming out with more evidence that any of those screen times, that the light coming from that is actually not good for their brain development. But I do notice when I've gone to different book fairs or library fairs, the kids really are gravitated to the books. They
Yes.
love, especially if you have a colorful cover like it looks like all our books do. They're just really attracted to it, and you can tell them what the stories are about, and they really want those books. Their parents don't always want to buy them for them, but they really do want to have those books and hear those stories over and over again. Some parents have come to me and said that, their kids will just reread and reread the stories, just to experience that the whole story again.
Yeah, and not only that, it's a bonding experience between
Right.
the child and the parent when you're reading to when you're reading to your children. It's a bonding experience. And I mean, I remember my son I don't remember when the Harry Potter series came out, but I had been reading to him from the time that he was, even while he was in utero, and I was reading to him every night. He had his favorite stories, but we would do different stories and then go back to the favorites afterwards.
Right.
And he developed a love for reading. And I would catch, when the Harry Potter series came out, I don't know how old he was. He was probably like, I don't know, maybe 8, if that. And I bought the first book because I heard about it, and he would be at night with this. He didn't like to sleep. He had his days and nights mixed up, and he would be with a flashlight in his bed reading
Yeah.
until I came in and said, "That's it, all right," and take the book away. Time for sleep. But the books don't have the EMFs coming off, the electromagnetic frequencies, and that light that can damage your eyes, that they are working with, they're dealing with today. We are dealing with today with all the devices that we use. So getting away from the screen is a healthy thing. The messages in these books are a healthy thing for the kids. Using your imagination and writing stories. Challenge your kids to write stories. Write stories yourself. Make them up. You don't have books? Make them up. Have story time before bed. And that works instead of things like Roblox. And I want to go for a minute. I want to talk about how the internet and games that the kids play on their devices can lead to things that are not only unhealthy for them and with the use of the device, but there are people who are utilizing these games and whatnot in order to be able to groom your children for things like trafficking. So our producer, Dizzy D, and the Soul 105, and myself and Andy Berger from Voices Against Trafficking have joined together for the second year now. And we are going to do DJs Against Trafficking and Hunger on September the 26th. It's a 20-hour marathon. We have DJs from 5 different continents right now who are going to be part of this event. We're going to start off as a panel on the 26th at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we're going to talk about the topic that nobody wants to talk about, nobody wants to see, but is becoming more and more evident with kids that are getting rescued from trafficking. So trafficking is not just sex trafficking, it's for work. They pull these kids and have them working in factories and whatnot, and Lord knows what else they do, and it's horrific, and we need to stop this. It is the crime against humanity, and one of the entryways into conversations with kids are some of these games that are on online, and people masquerading as little kids, and the next thing you know, or someone is a 14-year-old and they want to meet up, and next thing you know, somebody's gone. I saw a video the other day of somebody who was sitting, a girl who was sitting on a park bench, and this guy came over and talked to her, and he blew something in the air and she inhaled it and she started to faint. And there were children, there were other guys that were watching the situation and saw that it was going to be nefarious, and they went over to stop the situation. And the girl came up, apparently being her friend. They thought she was her friend, and she really wasn't her friend. She was working with the guy who had started the whole thing with whatever it is that she inhaled that weakened her, and she was going to pass out. And they actually took this girl. And so, it's in the parks, it's all over the place. So one of the reasons why we're doing this is because we want to protect your children from things like this happening. If they're at home and they're reading books, they're with their families, they have the good information and good family. And it's not just kids, it's young women, it's young men. This has no parameters. And unfortunately, there are so many organizations out there that are utilizing people for, this is modern day slavery. Mm-hmm. And not only does it make me mad, it makes me sick that this is going on. And so if we did this last year and it was very well received. And if you can give to the cause of getting people out there to stop this and to be able to provide for people who have been rescued from trafficking, because the PTSD and the effects of having just been taken are so bad that there are lots of things that are going on, including disease that is coming from this modern day slavery. So I invite you, join us on September the 26th. Andy Berger and I are hosting, and we have a lot of people from around the world. So go to, we'll put a link in the description underneath the videos, both on YouTube, Facebook, and Conversations That Make a Difference on Facebook as well. There's links where you can go to get information. There's links where you can donate and use this to make a difference in the lives of other people. Conversations That Make a Difference is not just about books. It's not just about the topics that we talk about that are good and real and wholesome and whatnot. It's also about making a difference in the lives of those who can't make a difference for themselves. So I invite you to come on board that. So
Teresa, can I ask where the funds go? So I love that you're doing that, by the way, because it's so important. I have a friend actually here on island that works with children and people who are human trafficked. And one of the things that she told me that was surprising, and I didn't even think about it, is that it's generational, that it could actually happen within the household. And that I didn't even think about it in that way. So I learned a lot. I love that you're doing that. I just wanted to know, so where the funds that you'll be collecting, where are they going to be dispersed to?
They're going to Voices Against Trafficking, and they're going to be dispersed from there. And it's all going to be about making sure that the money is used for the cause to either help people. So Andy Berger was trafficked herself, and she talks about that. She's on my show all the time. And she had started the Voice Against Trafficking organization, and they have rescued a bunch of young women from trafficking. They had a safe house right before COVID hit. They rescued a bunch of people. So that money is going to housing, counseling, clothing, education, the PTSD, trauma, the health of these people that have been trafficked. So it's going for a lot of good causes. And there are people who are going to be part of the panel, and that will talk about all the different ways that the money is being used. And we don't think anything of going and buying something that we want. And we have some expendable income, right? So if you use your income to make a difference in the lives of others, whether it's being one of these books for your children, keeping them home and safe with you, or whether it's being donated to a cause like this that is near and dear to my heart, and make a difference however you can, even if it's $1, If everybody gave $1, could you imagine what that would be? And there are ways to sponsor as well. So we'll put the information in the description, not only for YouTube, but for the other platforms as well. And go to Conversations That Make a Difference podcast on Facebook. And you can also find it on Facebook events. I'll put the links in there. Make sure that you have access to it. So yeah, make a difference. Last comments. We have 10 minutes left. I'm shocked we still have so much time left. So George, what's next? What's the next book that's coming out?
One of my favorites out of this series, it's called The Games. A lot of people don't know this, but in the native lands, they have every July the Eskimo Indian Olympics.
Wow.
And I think it's like 4 days long, and it's amazing. When I was a child in Alaska, and I saw on the news, you know how they go, and this year's annual Olympics, and I'm like, that's not this year. And then I look closer, and amazing feats of endurance, strength, stamina, balance, toughness, and my dad, he likes it too, and I never forgot that, and I had to write this book to show that there are many cultures that have very similar things that we do too.
Yeah. Now, is your dad in Alaska still?
Yeah, he's living in Anchorage.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom too.
And your mom, your mom and dad are still in Alaska. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got so you've got the games, and then there's another one I know that we already have seen a little bit of, and it's called what? Mush.
Mush. Yeah. Infrequently I would help my dad. We had 12 dogs. They were all ex-Iditarod dogs, like kind of retired athlete. And so my mom and dad, they would just collect. And all of a sudden I see 10, 11, 12 dogs. So we hook them up to the harness my dad made and the sled he made, and we take off. And it's amazing. It really is. It isn't like some like a horse-drawn carriage ride in New York City. They take off and you get whiplash.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So mush is a standard word for go.
So yeah, so all right, so we have the games and we have Mush coming out next. So watch for them. George, what's the website that people can go to see what you're up to?
gwlehtinen.com.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Make sure you get there. And then also you can find George and January and Allison on my website, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Just click on our books and you can find all their names in there, and you can have access to their books from that website as well. January, I know we got Puka Penny coming, right? So that's hopefully she's going to be arriving sometime in when?
So my goal is to get you the manuscript by September 1st. So I have a deadline. And the next goal is for us to publish her on November 24. So I do have some deadlines to meet. So I'm excited about Puka Penny. Puka Penny cares about sharing. This is a topic that is very near and dear to me. I just enjoy sharing. I enjoy, and there's magic when it comes to paying it forward. So I'm very excited to share that book.
Yeah. And sharing is also what we were talking about a little bit earlier, about sharing what you have with other people who need things when they're coming out of situations that are detrimental to them. So so I'm excited about Puka Penny next. Yeah. And Allison, do you have any plans for another book?
I don't have anything in the works right now, but I'm hoping to. I'm hoping to do more with Feline Phoenix, more stories.
That'd be fun.
We'll incorporate health lessons for kids.
Yeah. And your granddaughter is how old now?
She's going to be a year at the end of this month.
Wow. Okay. So she's going to be in an age where reading to her is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I remember those days. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't have grandchildren yet, but when I do, you know for sure what their grandma's going to be doing. Reading all your books to them. Right. So, Allison, how can people can find you on my website as well? Do you have contact information? And I'll ask you too, January, because I forgot to do that.
Well, the books are on Amazon. So if you look them up, by title and author, they come right up.
They come right up.
Now I haven't established a web page yet, but I'm working on it.
Working on it. Little at a time. You find her on social media too, right?
Yes, I am on Facebook. Yes.
Okay, awesome. In January, how can people get in touch with you, dear?
Hi. So you can find me AlinaTheHoneymaker.com. That's AlinaTheHoneymaker.com, or January Liddell. That's 2 D's and 2 L's.com. I'm also on social media, both on Facebook and on Instagram, Alina the Honeymaker. I hope you can follow me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and we know George has got his website he just gave you as well. So, and I wanted to let everybody know that we are going to be doing the next daily gift book. It's called The Daily Gift of Happiness and Joy. And although I would love to be able to get that out for the holidays, we've decided to hold it off until National Reading Month, which is March. And what we're going to do for the holidays is we're going to relaunch a daily gift of gratitude and a matching journal that goes with it. So if you're looking for something, a gift that we'll give on a daily basis and that will help people to develop an attitude of gratitude, watch for that to come right around Thanksgiving. And then in March, we're going to have a daily gift of happiness and joy. And this has been a joy to talk to all of you. I'm so excited for all that's coming, and I'm so grateful to be able to be part of your journey as authors and get to know the stories and what you do to make a difference in the lives of the kids and the adults who read to them, because each one of them has a message, and each one of them is bringing something beautiful to the children who are hearing them, and the parents that are reading them. So
Teresa,
yes.
Thank you for bringing our books to life. I remember holding my book for the very first time, and I was just in awe. It's like my first kid. Well, first kid all over again, holding that book. And so I appreciate you, Teresa, for just being there for us, understanding our thoughts in our head. Like, you bring our thoughts in our head to life and make it come alive. So thank you so much for just being there for us.
And I second that. And it was just a very special experience to finally have these stories that I had in my head and I had written down, but then to see them actually come to life and pop with all the color and all of the antics and stuff that I was putting in there, just to see it actually come to life was great.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's my joy. George, I know you've held on to these stories for a long time.
Yeah, it's a little too long in my opinion, but what was interesting when I was, with my children as they were growing up during that span of nothing, as in trying to create a book, I actually, they helped me as I learned how to be a better parent, and I watched my children grow, and I realized that I have to go back. I have to go, what was missing? And it was that story that started it all. Mm-hmm. So I thank my kids. I thank you, of course, but the energy that was given to me was by my daughter and my son.
Yeah. Our kids are such a big part of who we are, and to bring those stories to life and they honor you, you honor them. And it's just a wonderful thing. And I'm so grateful and blessed to be able to be a part of this journey with each and every one of you and the other children's authors and the book authors that come to me as part of what I do. I feel very blessed to be able to have this experience. And I think that the gifts and talents that I got, I hope that I'm using them for goodness, for, I always say it's all for God's glory. And on that, we're going to say that this is the end of our conversation that makes a difference for today. I hope that each and every one of you took something away from this conversation. You can watch the replays on YouTube if you haven't already. Go ahead and like and share and subscribe to that channel. Not only there, but on Conversations That Make a Difference podcast on Facebook. You can find snippets from the shows on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I believe on TikTok as well. So until next time, I hope every conversation that you have in one way or another makes a difference in the lives of people you're talking to and a difference in your own life. Until next time, have a great day.
That brings us to the close of another episode of Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi. We want to sincerely thank you for tuning in and sharing your time with us today. Our greatest hope is that today's discussion inspired your personal growth, encouraged you to share your unique gift, and gave you the courage to write your own magnificent story. If this message resonated with you, let's keep the conversation going. Take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on our Conversations That Make a Difference Facebook page. This will ensure you never miss a moment of inspiration. We air new episodes every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It truly helps us reach and empower more people. Until next time, keep making a difference. We look forward to welcoming you back next Tuesday to our next conversation.